You want to do something fun? You want to go to Taco Bell?
Oh my God!
Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
Speaking of illegal, like, have you ever, committed a crime?
Yes. One time I stole red underwear from the department store. My mother wouldn't buy them for me. She said they were Satan's panties.
Having a girls' night tonight.
Girls' night? What does that entail?
Well, you know, girls get together, hang out, share girl talk.
I'm a girl.
Come on.
Girls' night, girls' night.
Welcome to Inside the Booth, the best, well, personally, maybe one of the best editions, which is Girls' Night. Love us some Girls' Night. It's just so good to be back in the booth with the ladies. Girls' Night, not just for the ladies, I might add. We do have quite the handful of men that apparently really enjoy Girls' Night. So come on inside the booth, hang out with us, leave us a comment, leave us a like, let us know that you are watching. We're so glad that you are here this evening. And I've got a wonderful panel of guests for this evening for our topic. We're going to be talking about some traumatizing children's movies. Should they, maybe we're just too soft these days. Maybe these are the movies that just made us who we are and gave us a little bit of grit. We don't know. We're going to discuss that this evening. And of course, as always, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ring the bell if you're not new here, but you just want to get notified of all of our upcoming videos. All of the social media links for my guests are down below. Let's bring on a fan favorite who has been here numerous times. We have Maria, the Geeky Crochet. How are you doing this evening?
I'm very good. Always happy to be here. You know that. It's like my favorite show. It's like, Girls' Night!
R2, did you hear that? Her favorite show.
Inside the booth. I forgot to entail because obviously, I have my, there it is.
Right.
After the weekend and my,
Unlocking lore. Exactly. You are a storyteller. You're a movie reviewer. Her social medias are also in the link, or in the description box below. Also for Twitter and everything like that. You do, like I said, movie reviews, and your main channel for yourself is Unlocking Lore, where you tell stories, right?
Yep. I'm a performing artist and traditional oral storytelling, just the pure, old tradition. And if you guys like that, go check out my channel.
Absolutely. I frequently do. And unfortunately, Maria is so busy. She hasn't been on the regular. Sadness.
I know.
But I understand. You just had a huge life change and move and everything. You're probably still unboxing stuff. So we'll forgive you. But, and then we're going to bring on our other guest, get my words out, the wonderful, the magnificent Reina Creole, a first timer here in the booth.
Yes, and I'm so glad to be here with the both of you.
Yeah, Girls' Night, like I said before, is always so much fun. We were discussing behind the scenes our cringe manly movie episode. We won't bring up anything in particular, but just saying, guys, it's definitely worth the watch if you also have the live chat on as you watch. But tonight, like I said, we are discussing maybe some traumatizing children's movies. And if you're new here for Girls' Night, how it works is that we're going to list our top 3 that perhaps left a very bad taste in our mouth from our childhood that we had to just endure and get over as we grew up. And then we're going to go around again and leave it on a little bit of a happier note, maybe a movie or two that inspired us. It's funny. So I decided, to use the word traumatize, right? And I understand this word gets thrown around really frivolously these days, but it sends the message, right? And for some people, it really did. Some movies really were traumatizing. But when I tried to find the opposite of traumatize for our last portion of this video, it came up with unaffected. And I'm like, well, that's not what I was going for.
Not really.
doesn't
Not
send the
really,
same
yeah.
message.
No.
Right? I mean, like, how many movies have left you unaffected? I mean, like, half of the movies that I watch. So, we'll leave it more inspirational. But anyway, we'll go ahead and go with that. And for those that may not still have understood, I gave the example when I invited the ladies on as the never-ending story. I think we can all agree that that has some heavy themes in it that are surprisingly, I mean, just blatant for a quote-unquote children's movie. I don't even know if it's really listed as a children's movie or if it is so just because of the fact that it has children in it. But
No,
that
it
horse
is.
scene. That horse scene, though, I mean, like, I remember sitting there not understanding what's happening. But at the same time, inside, I know something's very bad wrong.
It was heart-wrenching.
That's heart-wrenching.
And I know that when we did the review for the After the Weekend for Neverending Story, there was one little person who ended up crying in that scene.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it was
for real.
It's heavy. I got older and watched that again, and I cried. I just like, can't watch this. But all right, so my first one that I'm going to bring up is probably a movie that I don't even know if anybody here knows it. Like, honestly, I didn't grow up in the United States, so I don't know what was popular around town and everything like that. But it's the movie, have you ever heard of it, of Pre-Hysteria 2? Or you ever heard of maybe just Pre-Hysteria, the first one? Apparently there were 3 movies. And I'm telling you, for years, my family and I have tried to figure out the name of this movie because it's one of these movies that nobody talks about, right? It's a kid's movie. But I saw it when I was probably about 6 years old. And there is a scene in there. I don't know what the film, I don't know what the fear is necessarily titled in science terms. But I, as a child, had an actual phobia of going bald. It would terrify me. I honestly would wake up my mom so many nights thinking that I was going bald. I don't know. I couldn't even have my hair in a bun. I had to have my hair touch my neck because I needed to know my hair was still there. So, that being said, let me bring up, if you've never seen this movie, I happen to find, I'm sure nobody's ever heard of this movie. It's an American movie, okay? So I don't know, but I'm going to bring up this little snippet. Okay. And I tell you what, this, for years, followed me. Let me see if I bring this up here. Let me just play this little scene right here.
Pre-hysteria.
It's about little baby dinosaurs, by the way.
Little baby dinosaurs. Wow.
But this scene right here.
I would not have put that together.
No, me neither.
That's a wig. Okay. So she's wearing a wig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And that scene right there, have you ever been so afraid and so terrified that your neck feels like it's on fire and the hair is literally standing on end? Okay. Just me? Okay. Yeah. I was terrified of that scene. And I mean, I don't know if showing a cancer patient, I don't know if that's really appropriate in a children's movie. Because like I said, this movie is basically about these little they found these baby tiny dinosaurs. They're miniature dinosaurs that are alive. And they just kind of like go on adventures. They don't talk or anything, but the kids find them. They're trying to protect them. They end up in this house. I don't remember everything, but that scene is like burned into my mind. And so that gets top tier. Pre-Hysteria 2. Maybe not having, cancer patients like that.
You've never had any relatives who they take their wig off and their hair looks like that? Maybe I have some. So I kind of did it. If anything, when I was a kid, we were pretty much like, yeah, let's try that wig on,
My poor mother, she had developed cancer several years ago, and she remembered my fear of balding, right? I'm telling you, I would see ladies that purposely shave their heads, and it would terrify me, right? And so when she had gotten cancer and she started to lose her hair, she was so afraid for me that I wasn't going to be able to handle it well. Fortunately, I got older, and I don't know where that fear came from, but that movie, phew. But anyway, that is number 1. If you've never seen Pre-Hysteria 2, check it out. It's on YouTube for
that.
free.
Wow.
kids movie.
Wow.
Maria, go ahead.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Okay, so I think my first pick has to be the 1990 movie Witches with Angelica Houston.
I've never seen. I've only heard.
Okay.
That sounds familiar.
Okay, so this movie, like, really, I mean, so it's like it left a really, really, like, big, I wouldn't say scar, but it's like it really impacted me when I was a kid. And a few years ago, they celebrated the 30th birthday, like in 2020. So they did like all this stuff, and the new Witches, like they started with Anne Hathaway. Yeah, it didn't go well. So the first scene, so I said, "Oh, let's watch it again." I mean, I'm old. I'm ready
old.
for it. I'm ready for it. The first scene of the Witches with the kids was still traumatizing till this day.
Really?
It's okay. So I'll describe the scene because it's like the first, 5 minutes of the movie. It's very creepy, just like R2 says in the chat. It's very creepy. And one of the witches, casts a spell on a little girl, and she puts her into a picture, like an oil picture.
Okay.
Painting. And the parents are all scared because their little daughter disappeared, except her friend, who is the protagonist. And this girl in the picture, in the painting, starts is always changing places and is always looking at her parents.
So she's trapped in the painting?
She's trapped in the painting. And you see her getting older. Older until finally she's an old lady. So I was like, even now I get goosebumps. I was like, whoa, I actually watched this? It's like, oh.
It is amazing how each movie will affect everybody differently. Like some people may have watched that. I have never in my life met anybody who has a phobia of, or at least when I was a child, have a phobia of going bald. I have never met one anyway. And so, and then, child locked behind a painting, some people might not think that's a big deal, but it impacts us differently.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Witches.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've
never heard of that movie.
Witches? Oh,
it's like a cult classic, though, isn't it?
It's a cult classic. It didn't. I don't think it did very well in the theaters. R2 can tell us that, but
get
but
R2 on Girls' Night.
Yeah, but I know that afterwards it's like a big hit. Yeah, like Labyrinth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
underappreciated.
That was my first pick.
Labyrinth.
That's
that brings me some interesting memories from last Girls' Night when we had Megan Lee on here, and Maria got all upset, but Megan's like, "Look at his pants; they didn't finish."
Yeah, and it's true. It's true.
Maybe Labyrinth should have been on tonight's episode as well.
But David Bowie,
he was.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, he had some weird pants on, but
yeah, it's true. It was very distracting. That's for sure. It's not good. That's not a good.
Okay, well, so Lorena, what is your top movie that you would say is either inappropriate for children or was very heavy for you personally as a child?
Let's see. Very inappropriate for children, and I have no idea how I wound up seeing this, but that would be the movie Alien.
I've heard of people taking their kids to see this movie.
Compared to movies today, it's relatively tame. But when you walk in and you're watching the TV, what got rented that night, and all of a sudden you see all of these people around a table, and this guy's like freaking out, and they don't know why, and this thing just comes bursting out of his chest and whatnot, and looking around, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope nobody does that. And then I kept like, is an alien gonna pop out of you?
Right. Because as a child,
that really made me paranoid for a while.
Is that an R-rated movie?
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
But their definition of R would have been like PG-13 today, because it was just mostly for mostly for the para, mostly for the terror, mostly for, because the alien was not a very nice looking type of a monster. That thing also haunted my nightmares for a while and fascinated me at the same time. At the
Right?
same
Yeah.
time, it was just, you looked at it and I'm like, wow, it's really gorgeous and freaking dangerous at the same time. But yeah, kids should definitely not watch that movie, because one of two things will happen. Either they're thinking everybody's gonna alien that's gonna burst out of their chest, or they are waiting to spring that on you as a prank.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure. I'm kind of a sensitive adult to all things freaky, but I did last year take the time to watch Alien because everybody's like, okay, this movie is phenomenal. And I will agree that the way they made this movie, wow.
Yeah.
But I can't handle it freaks
The
me
face
out.
sucker?
I can't.
No, I agree. I
can't.
cannot
Face
do that.
sucker,
I have not. Yeah.
I have apparently something about the whole head. I just can't handle anything going on right here.
that just subliminally, it's, you have something that's, that's stuck on your face, and it's so ingrained that if you saw, I guess it was the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, where Grogu's going past all the eggs, I'm like, oh my God, a face sucker's gonna pop out.
No, I can't do it. It's just, oh man, I watched Alien on YouTube in segments, and I only kept the screen really small because I knew that creature was in there somewhere, and I'm like, if it comes, I can't watch it, so I skipped past that scene.
I have not seen the movie.
But it was a phenomenal film. The lack of music, and then the way the music was done. Oh, it's
just the sounds. And
Yeah,
honestly, that scene is one of the most classic film special effects scene ever, because the only people who knew what were going on was the special effects guy with the explosion pack and the dude on the table. Those are the only two people who knew that was going to happen.
Oh,
No, I would have died. I can't do it. I just don't have that mental fortitude. Even as an adult, let me back off. Moving on. I can't.
Now that I freaked y'all out.
Okay, I'm gonna go on the route of this. This is a cartoon.
Okay.
And Watership Down. You guys ever seen Watership Down?
I have not. I've heard of it.
Okay.
Is that the one with the rabbits?
It's the one with the rabbits. Now you would think it's the one with the bunnies. No, it's not. It's the one with the rabbits. Okay. And there is a difference in this movie.
Okay.
Okay, like these are not bunnies. Let me give you ladies exhibit A. Okay. So you're a kid, you're watching this, you're like, bunnies. It's a cartoon about bunnies. No. You are bad wrong. Look at this face.
Ugh.
Look at
Vampire bunny.
Okay. These bunnies attack each other in this film. Look, there was one that was caught on a rope and he was dying.
It's like a zombie vampire.
No, these were just aggressive bunnies. And then there's even a scene where the cat gets the bunny, and then there's this one with the doggy. Look at that. Blood. There's a dead rabbit, man.
Oh, wow.
I have never seen that movie.
It is based off of a book, and I don't know that this is a book. I'm very much about the classics and that the book was better. This is not a book I think I want to read. But man, I remember my dad, he would let us watch it or make us watch it. I'm not sure which one, because my dad loved cartoons, and I'm like, no, I think the premise of the movie was like the rabbits were, they have in little colonies and things like that. And like, industrial stuff, and they needed to move. Some of the rabbits refused to move. And some of them got really aggressive about it. And so then they took it out on the other rabbits. And I'll never forget. I mean, slow motion, guys. They would have the bunny scene like in slow motion as they're attacking each other, hitting each other with their claws, blood coming. Cartoon. Okay? Cartoon.
Sure they didn't have rabies?
Wow.
No. No. They were, and it said, I did a little research in here, and it says, like the BBFC, which I think is like a critics like a rating system. The film critics in 1978, tougher people back then, I guess. Film critics in 1978 characterized Watership Down as suitable for children in spite of its potentially distressing aspects. No way that would fly in 2022. Am I So that kind of freaked me out. And I don't know that is, again, I don't know if this really was made for children or not, but you see cartoon, especially back in the day, you just assume it was for kids. And you're watching this and you're thinking, what's happening to the little bunnies? Why are they so mad? Why is that dog tearing that rabbit apart?
Wow.
So Watership Down would be another one of those kind of traumatizing films for me. Maybe not appropriate for children.
Absolutely not appropriate. Wow.
Or is it?
Wow.
Yeah. So Maria, what's your second?
Okay. My second pick is actually now like not one of my favorites, but it's like one that I do regard as a cult classic, and it is Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You just grabbed that one from me, actually.
I love when we have crossovers because sometimes, one of us will pick it. We're like, yes. We did that in Villains, I think.
Yes, it's true. Okay, so when I saw it, it was very traumatizing, especially like the scene where like they literally absorb like the essence of this person, of this creature, and they drink it, and it was like, whoa, man, it's like, no, don't do it, no, extremely traumatizing, like very much like impactful, and yet it is like just like the thing that like animated movies is for kids. Well, puppets are for kids. So it was like, yeah. So I watched it as a kid, and it was like, whoa, no. I didn't watch it again like years later, but yeah. I can't
remember the last time I watched Watership Down. I'm a little bit like, I don't want to. So I can only imagine. I have wanted to watch The Dark Crystal, but I've never told you.
But this one is good. So the Dark Crystal is probably it's like right at the top with Jim Henson's like his own original story.
I would agree. Yeah.
Didn't Netflix make another one or something? Was that any good?
They said it was really good, but the whole production was so expensive it wasn't worth it, and they didn't go for a second season.
Wasn't worth it?
Yeah.
See, that's where the lost art of creativity has come from. It's just all about the money. I know it takes money to make it, but wasn't worth it because it didn't make enough money. But if people really liked it,
people really did like it. But the thing is that it was a very, very specific audience that really liked it. Not everybody likes
it. Is niche.
The nostalgia factor was that maybe
you're not, because it's not like it's not like your top tier Muppets like Kermit and Miss Piggy and Ralph. It's not that. It's like, I don't know, like somebody smoked a lot of weed and said, hey, I got this idea for this villain called the Sexist, and they're big and they're hunched over and they look weird and they complain about we have to find essence or whatever, and they suck the life out of you. And then sometimes it's not done well enough and they snap back up and jump, try to grab you in the neck. I started screaming as a kid when I saw that. I was like, these things are just freaking scary, and I want to run, but I can't because it looks so cool, and I wanted to see if the little gelfling was actually gonna succeed. And then the other thing that freaked me out was it Fezgig? All I know is it's this little unassuming little ball with eyes.
With eyes in the mouth.
It opens its mouth up, it's nothing but rows and rows and rows of sharp teeth. And it lets out this huge scream. It is the most demented thing ever. And it's so freaking cool eventually.
It's so awesome.
This movie sounds like a car accident. You don't. It's horrible, but you can't look away. Like
it was so traumatizing as a kid to see that, because if you're used to the Henson, regular Henson puppets, they're so warm and welcoming and hey, let's all play together and blah blah blah. And you got the Dark Crystal. It's like, we hate you. We want to eat you. We want to suck your asses out. And it's so traumatizing, but. From a story standpoint, from a puppeteering standpoint, it is absolutely a fabulous fabulous movie. I just wouldn't let your young kids see it.
No, I wouldn't let young kids see it either.
I might not let Tabitha see it. She's so sensitive.
So, well, talking about art, it is a work of art. Like the stuff that
Absolutely.
the stuff that they put in, like all the just the puppetry itself is a masterpiece. Like the Gelflings, right? I keep forgetting. Okay,
Gelflings.
They are they're so pretty in their own way, you know.
Oh, God,
so.
I forgot about that.
I
forgot about that.
I hate slime. Yeah, yes, but you have to be aware that this is a dark movie, just like the title, Dark Crystal. This is a dark movie.
Very dark movie.
Man, imagine how many parents must have gotten really confused and felt horrible for taking their kids to go see this and not realizing, like, you know, like you said, they're anticipating Sesame Street and the Muppet Show and everything like that, and all of a sudden
it's not the Muppet movie.
No. It must have been kind of like it's kind of like when I assume it's probably like when Deadpool first came out. I had so many parents. I worked at a private Christian school as the after school care teacher, right? And like the parents were picking up their kids, they're signing them out. Yeah, I gotta take my kids to see Deadpool. We love, you know, they love Marvel movies. They love superheroes. And I'm thinking, should I say something? Like, I don't want to interfere, but all these parents had no, and there was one family where I really knew what their scruples were for things like that and how they really were sensitive with what their children watched. And I was kind of like, you know, it's rated R, right? For like all the stuff. They had no idea. So I'm going to assume.
Okay, I have to back up because most of the campaigning that they did for Deadpool was don't bring the kids.
I know. I know.
It was not bring the kids. I mean,
they still brought them. But they still took them.
Yeah.
Which makes zero. Well,
and like this person had like an 11-year-old girl, and they were taking their 9-year-old son or whatever like that to go see this. And I'm like, by the way, I would normally not say anything. I'm like, but I know how you guys are. Do you know that this is rated R for violence and language? I believe there's nudity in it. Like, you understand, it's not a kid's situation. It's not a kid's movie.
Oh, there's like dead bodies getting slammed up against an overpass and stuck there, and then eventually winds up sliding down and hitting the ground. I mean, it's not.
I'm like, check the ratings. It's just like parents and video games. Like, there is a reason it has a gigantic M slapped on the front of this box.
Yes, it's not there just to.
It's not M for
there.
Like, yeah, it's not the M for
motherly
money or motherly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's, you know, mature audience. Yes, like
wow.
Glad we got that out of our system. Parents, pay attention to the rating system, for crying out loud. It's there for a reason. Sorry, I've just kept it. Just bothers me. Like Lorena said, it specifically says in the trailer, like, not for kids. But anyway, before we get into our next section, I just want to say hello to all the viewers out there. Thank you so much for watching and for joining us. As I was saying before, you can find the social links for both of our guests here down below for their Twitter account and their YouTube accounts. Check them out there. And Lorena, I think I totally forgot to ask you what you even do on your channel. My bad. Could you go ahead and just tell us what you do?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I do videos. I mostly do live streams over on my channel, pop culture, sci-fi analysis. I also go to theme parks. I also vlog at theme parks, tell you, basically what to spend your time on, what not to spend your time or your money on, and anything that's like pop culture related in the theme parks, I let you guys know about. I also have gotten into watch parties and reviews of Indian movies and also of anime as well.
Yay! So awesome! I saw the one in the back. Oh man, I thought, wow, that's such an awesome.
What, her
pictures?
pictures?
Which one? Demon Slayer or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
JoJo's.
Yeah, people are like, is that a JoJo post? I'm like, yes, it is.
I mean, like
I love it.
I have like no idea what it is, but it looks really cool. Like as an artist, I'm like, look at that. That's pretty. I don't know what it is. That's pretty.
It is quite possibly one of the weirdest yet so much fun animes I've ever watched in my life. It is just so much fun.
I haven't gotten into anime. When I was doing one of my painting streams on my channel, Damaj and I popped in there and I was like, hey, and he was we're talking about anime or something like that. I'm like, well, where do you get started with anime? I heard Dragon Ball Z is really good. And they're like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball is a great place to start. I'm like, I'll start there then.
Yeah, you could start there. Absolutely.
Yeah, you could start there. I started with My Hero Academia, actually, because I like superheroes, and I dropped right into that, and it was so freaking awesome. I loved that, and then I got into Demon Slayer.
Okay.
Also.
Awesome.
Which I also like too. And then from there, I have no idea how I fell into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I did.
That just sounds like a Barney escapade, like JoJo's. Would you say Grand Adventure or something? Like
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's just it's crazy. You got an undead vampire.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And 100-year blood feud, I would say.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very
nice.
Okay, all right. I see it.
I started off. Yeah.
She says she's the female drunk 3PO. Yes. Wow. You take that as a compliment if you want to.
I totally do.
Yeah,
totally.
To each their own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm prettier than him, but that's okay.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
I love you, Jay.
I mean, I think we would all agree. He may have the reputation for being the handsomest man on YouTube, but compared to the lovely females, I mean, come on. But Miss Martin Muse does just say hello to you, Jacob Ironside, Dax Morgan again, Backyard TARDIS. We've got a Nani Moose, Shenotuski. Says Lorena.
Yes.
Thank you. It says Lorena is awesome. And R2, of course, Soul Assassin. And I see Lorena in the chat. Thank you. And Dylan C. And many others. And I hate to miss anybody, but I just want to say thank you again so much. Oh, Rhetorical Thrill is here. She does movie reviews as well. Some of them.
Okay.
I've only seen a couple of them. There's one she did on this fairy movie that I've never heard of, much like the movies apparently that I am listing tonight. Nobody's ever heard of before. And I really enjoyed her review of that. It was kind of funny. She just kind of stared at it like, what the just because it was just out of the blue. You're watching this fairy kids cartoon. It's just like what? So Backyard TARDIS says Pokemon is an anime. I've been enjoying your sketches of that. Okay. So I've seen that, and I do have the first season of Sailor Moon that I never finished everything because growing up I always wanted to watch it, but I
was gonna say I started off with Sailor Moon, and then I took it off from Dragon Ball Z, and then there was one called Fushigi Yugi, Kareka no.
I'm sorry.
Fushigi Yugi, yeah, that one. Really interesting stories, and the thing is that they have such original stories.
Yes,
it's not like a remake of a remake of a remake of an original story. No, each one is so creative. Some more intense than others, but definitely they have their own essence. They have their own story, which is that's what I love. I mean, I love the creativity and I love the variety.
I'm gonna have to check that out because, as we all know, and we've been around the internet, we're all starving for some creativity and new stuff. But I'm going old school with my last one. And if you're new here, by the way, what we are doing is we're talking about top 3 traumatizing childhood films, or things that have affected us differently. I've had to expose myself and admit that I have a fear of balding, and apparently a fear of other people balding too. But my last one, and I don't know, it's a beloved movie. All right, it's a beloved movie, but maybe I'll be surprised. Willy Wonka. Okay,
Which
see your
version?
face. With Gene
the
Wilder.
old one. The old one.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Rhetorical thrill. Yes, Maria actually brought up witches, and she was upset about the child that apparently got locked behind the paintings or the picture frames and had to grow old, and I assume die there.
Yeah, and
She turned into the female Dorian Gray apparently, but Willy Wonka. I don't know. There was something about it. Number one, the Oompa Loompas freaked me out. They didn't think they were cute. I didn't think they were fun.
Oh,
I did not like them. Sam, I am. I don't know. With each child disappearing the way that they did bothered me, right? But it wasn't until we got to, and I'm gonna bring this last picture up. The one that really bothered me the most, and each one made me very uncomfortable, but the one that bothered me the most was actually the purple girl or whatever her name was.
Oh gosh. Was it
Oh, that's Violet.
Violet, right?
Yes,
and
Violet.
When she ate that and she started blowing up, and then they had to roll her away, and like we never heard from her again. Like I don't know why. But that really bothered me. And then as I got older and started thinking about it, I'm like, didn't each of these children die?
No.
They didn't die?
No.
Okay. All right. Did they come back to life
I
at
only
the
know
end?
because I read the book. No.
Oh, okay. All right.
They basically got deflated, and Mike TV was pulled back out of the TV. So at the end, the kids.
Well, they don't tell you that in the movie, right?
In this movie, no. In this version, no.
In that movie, they don't.
Having not read the book, man, like just like each child died. You're just left. I'm like, what a horrible movie.
Great book, though. I will tell you.
I probably will read the book one day. I'm on a mission in my life to read the books of the movies we love, and did not realize they were books. But yeah, so okay, I'm glad to know. Spoiler: the kids made it. Okay, but in the movie itself, like it kind of leaves off like what happened to the kids when she went. The one girl went through like the flaps, ended up in, and then Augustus, was up in the tube.
Yeah,
like
got stuck there.
Like I don't know. This movie bothered me as a child. I have never liked this movie. I love Gene Wilder. I think he did a spectacular job. I do not like any of the Willy Wonka movies, and the old one in particular freaked me out. So that's my third one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know most everybody I've met loves Willy Wonka. I think just because they like Gene Wilder, I guess. I don't know, but
personally, I liked it, and because of the whole movie. I mean, I never thought that they died. It's just that they just, they weren't in the picture anymore. Boom, gone, and that was their fault because each one had like a, had a very, very characteristic
bad
flaw.
attitude.
There's bad, freaking naughty little annoying kids.
Little brats.
You're kind of glad that they disappeared, but at the same time,
you kind of are. It's just like, that's your fault for freaking doing it.
I did want to bring this up. The brave little toaster, yes, gave me nightmares. The clown scene gave me nightmares. Wow. I will say, don't do clowns. But anyway, go ahead, Maria. What is your last?
Okay,
one?
so my third pick was very difficult because so my co-hosts know that I do have a scar from a movie that I cannot watch. I do not like it.
I've noticed.
I
see it from time to time, and I was going to ask you about it. Yeah.
So I do not like Gremlins.
What?
Yeah. Gremlins scarred me for life. For life.
Really?
I can't.
Really?
The fact that so it's like this cute little thing coming out, like furry, and then all of a sudden he pours water's poured onto him, and from his body comes out
the little fuzzballs. Yeah.
That's error number one. Okay.
Error number one.
Okay. Error number two is the fact that when they eat after midnight and they start to like mold into this slimy, gooey, ball.
Yeah, the pods.
Yeah.
And then they come out with their fingers, their long fingers just poking out. It is so gross, so scary. it traumatized me for life. I cannot watch Gremlins and not remember like this childhood fear. Childhood fear. So
Wow.
yes. Ugh.
I have to laugh because my little sister, that movie freaking traumatized her, and I laughed my ass off.
No.
I mean, it was freaky, but that didn't bother me.
I didn't really get scared for some reason. I laughed. I hated the other little mogwai for torturing Gizmo. I hated
Gizmo caca.
I freaking hated them. That's why I love the second one. The second one.
It's supposed to be a funny movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Okay, horror comedy.
Yeah.
But the fact that they like did that and kind of came out with the slime and the thing.
That's great.
I get it. You reacted just like how my sister did, and I'm just sitting there just laughing my ass off. And she's trying to hide behind me, and I'm like, "Get away from me!"
Like, no, not doing it. So not doing it.
Little Spidey says he loves Gremlins.
That's great, little Spidey.
I know.
More power to you.
Gremlins is a funny freaking movie,
and it's kind of like funny because in the movie, I saw the review because R2 did the review of Gremlins while I was on vacation. Thank you, R2, because he knew like my trauma, and and it's kind of funny because inside the movie they do all these like quotes and all these like references from other 90s movies like E.T. for Tom,
Yeah.
So and it's a lot of fun to find the Easter eggs in that movie. But I just cannot.
But Maria ain't going Easter egg hunting because she refuses to see this movie.
Not that one.
Hey, this was the first time. I'm talking the first time in 28-ish years that I have seen that preview from Prehysteria 2, and I was actually a little nervous. Going to watch it again. And I watched it and I'm like, I'm okay. So Maria, I conquered my demons. You'll be all right. It's okay. Go watch your Easter eggs and everything.
Okay.
By the way, little Spidey used to call Gremlins the Germans. I take offense to that. No, it's probably pretty accurate. I'm just kidding. I love my German family.
Don't feed the Germans after midnight.
Don't feed the Germans after midnight.
Oh, ouch.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so we have enough time to do some honorable men. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I was gonna totally skip Lorena. We were just chit-chatting away.
Let's see which one.
I know there's so many, right?
I know there's a ton. There's a ton. This movie, it did freak me out for a while, and that is Poltergeist.
Oh
no! I would have.
Whoa! That
in front of the TV.
It's an intense movie.
It is very intense, and it just freaked me out. Just like with this,
I don't do people crawling on the floor. That is another one of my things.
And disappearing into the TV. I was just like giving the side eye to my TV for the longest time.
Yes.
Is it going to suck me in? And I haven't been that traumatized by a movie involving a TV until I saw The Ring.
Oh.
See, I don't watch those movies because I know I can't handle it. I can't. I know I can't.
That one, I got sucked into that one and was really freaking scared, but I loved it. But yeah, Poltergeist, it did do that to me for Poltergeist. It freaked me out about the TV, and I kept hearing they're coming for you, Carol Ann. And I thought I was gonna have to run away and leave my house. So anytime I heard like a door slam, it freaked me out. I'm like, do we have a poltergeist in the house? And I'm like checking out all the books in the library about ghosts and everything. Like, what's
leaving open Bibles just randomly around the house?
Yeah, just like
some
holy water. I got all my Bible verses here. Really super pray before I go to bed. Just like I'll leave traps for the poltergeist, how to catch. It was crazy.
Oh yeah,
that's when I learned about parapsychology. Was actually a real thing.
Wow.
What is that? Parapsychology?
Basically, ghost hunters.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know these fancy terms. You know.
I didn't know either until I read, and I'm like, I can't believe they have this book in the library. It's cool.
Was it in the restricted section?
No, I was surprised. It was just, I think it was like paranormal or something like that. I couldn't tell you how I wound up finding it. I just freaking found it.
Anonymous says, "How did we go from cute and cuddly to poltergeist?"
That's where your girl's mind goes.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I've only ever seen little previews of like that chick coming at the TV. No, like I said,
Yeah.
I don't do humans except for babies. I don't do humans crawling on the floor, coming towards my feet. Like, just don't do it. I'll become violent. I will like kick you in the. I told that to my sister-in-law once. She scared me coming home from work one time. Like I came through the door and all of a sudden she was crawling on the floor behind the island and her face popped out. And I was unpacking like my lunch box or whatever I had. And I freaked out. I like kicked up my foot. I threw that thing at her and beamed her in the forehead.
Oh, dude.
Like, I will apologize to you later, but I will kick your butt first. Like, don't do that.
Oh, wow.
Do that. She gets a kick out of doing stuff like that, but not anymore. Not anymore. Like, I will apologize. I will cut you and apologize later. Wow. So I love this because I think we only had one like crossover, right? We only had one where it was the Dark Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The Dark Crystal, yeah.
And so I love the fact that half of these movies, like at least mine, you guys never heard of. But I love the variety and how, just learning about other people, how it affects one another. So now is the time for honorable mentions. So chat, if you've never been here for Girls Night, we go through our top 3 favorite or least favorite whatevers. And then we have time for honorable mentions because if you watched our villains episode, you'll know it's kind of like Lay's potato chips. You can't just have one. So I'm going to quickly just list my honorable mentions. Were going to be The Land Before Time.
Oh, yes.
Just because that's a heavy topic. Littlefoot lost his like they died.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I was thinking that one, but I have another one in store.
Like again, it was one of those movies where kind of like with Artax in Neverending Story, I'm watching it and I understand that something really bad has happened. And there's a lot of emotions, but I don't understand what's happening until I got older. I'm like, they died. Like they were orphans. All of a sudden, this is a children's movie. I mean, it's a great movie. I would watch it again. I've seen it numerous times, but it's like, wow. And then I was also going to put Lady and the Tramp. I don't like watching Lady and the Tramp even as an adult. Honestly, I watched it again for the first time in years, probably about 2 years ago. I was babysitting my cousins, and I like to have like Disney night or something like that. So we do a craft and we have food themed around the movie. And my cousin wanted to do Lady and the Tramp, so I'm in the kitchen making my pasta. We got Lady and the Tramp going, and all of a sudden it comes to the scene where they're in the dog pound, and that oh my gosh. That dog that's so happy-go-lucky, he's like headed down the pathway to death. And they're explaining like, there's that poor guy. Yeah. And I'm like, all of these dogs are going, well, not all of them. We know that at the end, not all of them, die. But I'm like, they just took that dog to go die. Like, that's not cool. I don't like that. So I was like, I think that's for me as apparently I'm a sensitive person, but as I don't think that's appropriate for children. That's my my other honorable mention. And I was also going to list Toy Story because do you know to this day, if I get rid of something that has a cute fuzzy face on it, I feel guilty. Like it's looking at me like, you could still glue me together. It's okay. We used to be friends, Tabitha.
Ouch.
So I did want to put, I love Toy Story, but it has scarred me.
Wow.
In a way that I do feel guilty anytime I get rid of a stuffed animal.
Oh, wow.
I do. Love me my stuffed animal. So those are my honorable mentions. Maria, what are your honorable mentions?
Okay, so the first one that popped into my mind was the last review that I did with JT, and that is Ernest Scared Stupid. So
yeah,
yes,
I didn't like that one either. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you
I know
know,
we're sensitive people, Lorena. You're probably like, you guys are pansy.
yeah. I was traumatized by that movie a long time ago. I even had a diary long ago that I wrote. I watched Ernest Scared Stupid. It was the scariest movie of all time. I was so scared. It's like it traumatized me until this day, and I watched it again, and I was like, oh, now I understand why it traumatized me, because it's gross. You know.
She doesn't do the gross. We figured
So,
that out.
yeah, so it's like the troll itself is like, you know, snot coming out of his two noses, you know, slime, you know, and it's like, ew.
Well,
And
I mean, you could
it's
get
really
that from any
scary.
2-year-old in the world, though. Let's be real.
No, but slime. Come on, this thing is more than 100 years old. So
Okay.
it's like
You met a
gross.
5-year-old with a cold, man? Glazed donut monster.
That's so gross. So yeah, I mean, Ernest Scared Stupid was like, I think like kids in the 90s and in the 80s were a lot. Yeah, you can watch it. It's like, you know, and nowadays, like, we watch other things. So that was one of them. The second one that kind of, you know, hit me hard was All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah.
I was not allowed to watch that movie because my parents didn't want me to believe that dogs went to heaven or hell.
Yeah, I get it. It's like we don't want you to get the wrong idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Here, you know.
One day I'll watch it out of rebellion.
Yeah.
Like I did with Power Rangers.
Oh, you never watched Power Rangers?
Of course not.
I didn't either.
Oh, I loved Power Rangers.
I didn't either. I was just not interested.
I was so into it. I was Kimberly, you know.
I wasn't allowed. So, but what is it about All Dogs Go to Heaven that left you feeling
it's
like
sad?
Is
so
it?
I
mean, I guess they die. That makes sense. That's why
but
it's
not
sad.
only that, it's just that like the first part of the movie is like these two dogs are gamblers, like real gamblers, and they get an orphan little girl to gamble for them, you know. And that's like, how dare you do that to a kid? That's number one. Number two, when the dog dies, he grabs one of the clocks that you turn the clock stops ticking. So you have to wind it up every certain time to be able to live. But like, and literally all dogs go to heaven until they grab that clock, they wind it up, they go back down, and then they are not allowed to go to heaven. So you know where they go. So the dog comes down, you know, finds, yeah. So it's like traumatizing because he wanted to finish some unfinished business. I don't even remember what it was.
I know a preacher that said, if dogs don't go to heaven, then I ain't going.
So, and then what's like, it's really like, to a point it is inspiring because like the dog, like the hero dog, instead of saving his watch to keep on living, he saves the little girl. So he sacrifices himself for the little girl to live, and his friend. And at, you know, the watch stops ticking, he dies, and like, you know, dark angels come for him, but since he sacrificed his life, he gets to go to heaven. So it was like really traumatizing. That's a kid's movie. It's very intense, you know, especially if you're sensitive. So I would say like that was, yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven is like the second one. So, and I was gonna say The Land Before Time that way. So
there you go. Well then, Lorena, do you have any honorable mentions?
I have 3. Actually.
It's a magic number.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of funny how kind of like all of them in concert kind of did that. Number 1 is the 1935 Snow White.
Oh,
animated Snow White. The fact
first
that
one.
Yes, the first one, because Snow White had to run away and escape from her evil stepmother that wanted her heart cut out. I was like, how could you do that? And she's in the snow, and she's like, all of that just freaked me out completely that would like happen. I'm like, this is a kids
movie.
It's a kids movie.
My mom's letting me watch this movie. I'm like, what the heck happens? I mean, she
Feel a little
finds,
bit betrayed. Yeah.
finds the the doors, and you think all is well, and then she doesn't pay attention to what they say, and she eats the freaking poison apple and freaking dies, and everyone thinks she's dead, and that just like that freaked me out. So that was number one. That like freaked me out. The second one, Sleeping Beauty.
Whoa,
Sleeping
really?
Beauty. Yes, because of Maleficent. Just because you didn't invite this salty broad to this birthday party, she is gonna curse your baby. I'm just like, who does that?
Villains, Lorena, obviously.
Like, every birthday party, I'm like, did we forget somebody? Because I don't want somebody to come back and curse me.
Oh, wow.
Like pricking my finger, like on maybe on my mom's sewing kit or something like that, and I go to sleep. I know. I
have pricked my finger on many a needle just to see what would happen.
it was just the craziest freaking thing, and that just like freaked me out. And then the third one,
it was my favorite
because my dad used to traumatize me with this, and it's his freaking fault. Bambi.
Oh yes,
Bambi.
When his mother got shot.
Yeah,
it's true.
And I was just like, Bambi's mom isn't coming back. I was stuck on that and like crying.
I think all of the world was stuck on that for years.
Yeah, for years.
That was rough.
I couldn't get over the fact that you heard that gunshot and you knew his mother was dead.
Yeah. I mean, that is the difference between Lady and the Tramp and Bambi, like in many ways, is the fact that that dog went on to be put to sleep, but you never saw it, you don't hear, all that kind of stuff. Bambi, you hear the gunshot. Like it's real.
Oh, wow.
I gotta laugh at Soulless Assassin. He says it's cool. Bambi went to live with his dad. Yes, that was voiced by Patrick Stewart. So I was okay with Bambi too.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't watched Bambi in years. I was gonna also put on here Old Yeller, but I figured everybody was gonna put Old Yeller on here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
No, I have
Bambi, Old Yeller.
I have one that popped into my mind like right now, and that is Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, that was a freaky movie.
That was a weird movie, but I saw it when I was in my late 20s.
Okay, so I saw it when I was a kid. And it's supposed to be a beautiful love story. And I love like my favorite director is Tim Burton, like the whole scenery. But the fact that like he's all like Johnny Depp is all cut off, he's white, his hands are scissors and stuff like that. That is a really traumatizing like
I remember when I was younger when it came out, just seeing the posters freaked me out, which is one reason why I never watched it. Sensitive. We think we all got that, man, good. Well, I want to leave on positive notes. I honestly did not come up with a bonus question for this evening, so we're just going to leave on our positive notes and flip it. What was a movie that you watched as a child that impacted you in a good way? Maybe even to this day, like you still remember that was the movie I saw when I felt this or watched this. Not unaffected, as is the opposite of traumatized, as we discussed earlier. So for me, the first movie that came to mind, let me put this because I made this. I want to put it up there. Top inspirational kids films is that. For me, we can be on the fence about whether or not this was a kid's movie. Everybody in the fandom's going to be coming at me probably, but the Return of the Jedi.
Oh, of course.
Princess Leia meant the world to me. So like when Carrie Fisher died, it was like a huge hole because I'm all about the head. I'm all about the hair girls. I don't know what it is. Like, I loved having long hair. I don't know what it was. I had this fantasy. I loved all the princesses, but nobody in my world ever had long hair, right? And nobody in the movies really did either. I mean, like they had it maybe the length that I have here, but like I'm talking like long hair, right? And I remember when I saw Return of the Jedi and I saw how beautiful, and of course, the first time I saw Carrie Fisher, she was in the gold bikini. Right. But when I saw her just being so beautiful in that outfit, and the fact that she had the long hair, and then later on she was in the Ewok village and it was loose and flowing, I would tell you what, that lasted forever with me. Like, that was just a moment. I'm like, she's the one I want to be like. Like, she's the princess I want to be. Was just this beautiful, courageous, heroic, but she just had that gorgeous brown hair, that long brown hair. And I'll be real with you, is the fact that growing up, I didn't think I was that attractive or anything because I had brown hair. Everybody made a big to-do about blondes and blue-eyed beauties, right? And all my friends pretty much were blonde. And so when I saw Carrie Fisher, I'm like, I want to be her. And so it had a real deep impact. And so whether or not it's a children's movie, I'll leave that up to people because, again, we know the fandom is crazy about their opinions on Star Wars. But I mean, people have said it was a children's movie. It was made for kids. Whatever. I loved it. I'll go with that. Maria?
I'm a real sucker for princesses myself. But thinking for like kids movie, and I'm thinking, for example, like for my niece or somebody, an inspirational one is Little Princess. I think it's a very, very. The Little Princess is like the girl who's orphaned. She comes back from she comes back from India, and along with that, hand in hand is the Secret Garden, because they kind of like have the same thing. But you see a kid. And and they thrive, they come out and they conquer, and it's not because of violence, and it's not because of ideals, and because of who they are, and the fact that they're just genuinely good. And in the Secret Garden, for example, she is good. It's just that she was spoiled and she'd never had the attention of her parents, which traumatized her. But later on, she discovered what real love is, being taken care of by somebody who actually cares for her. So that is very inspirational. I think that's a great kids movie, very well done. And I think that would be both together. And then the second one is The Lion King.
Oh, okay.
I just love The Lion King because, again, there's a traumatizing part, like Mufasa's death.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, I'm crying, man. But at the same time, afterwards, when Simba comes back, knows who he is, comes back and fights for what he believes is true and what is good for his country. Because like Timon is like, we're fighting your uncle for this.
Very well done.
And Simba's like, yes, this is my home. And boom, he does it. So I think that
wow.
Yeah.
Man, you dive deep, Maria. I'm just vain. I'm like, she's so pretty. I want to be beautiful too.
It's like they said inspirational.
No, you're totally fine. I'm just picking on you. And Lorena, for you?
Let's see. Inspirational. Well, one that was definitely inspirational for me would be, I didn't like this movie because I thought it was boring, but that would be, but my dad happened to rent that from Blockbuster, so I was kind of stuck. Star Trek, the motion picture.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I'm like, God, this movie is boring. And then I happened to see Lieutenant Uhura. And that was the first time that I got vindication that I could see myself in the future. So if I wanted to, because I was very booky, I was very good with math, I was very good with science. Didn't
You're
really
one of those.
I'm one of those. It didn't quite seem to fit in that way. My family didn't know what to do with me. I was kind of like Sheldon. My parents had no idea what the heck I'm talking about, and they're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. No, we can't help you with that, Matt. Sorry, you're kind of on your own. So that was really impactful to me to see as a kid, to see Nichelle Nichols as Lieutenant Uhura. And then as I started getting into college and interning, I'm running into other people who saw the same thing and that saw her and it was inspired by her. I've met, astronauts inspired by her. I've met doctors inspired by her. I've met, teachers inspired by her. So when Nichelle Nichols passed away, this year, that was a tough one. That was like absolutely a tough one. So that's one. The other one, crap, I'm trying to remember.
What is that other crappy thing that inspired me?
It's like, yeah, I know that sounds so horrible. that sounds so horrible. I want to say, oh yeah, well this fits well. Here's another princess one. Too cool to be shoulders. You should hear me talk nerves sometimes. This is like my parents like, what? Like when I have the Wi-Fi password, my sister's like, I forget how smart you are, and until I see the Wi-Fi password, I'm like, yeah, she's really, really, really freaking
What is it,
smart.
like pi to the 1,000 places?
It's some weird cipher where it's just like, what the
Fibonacci sequence.
How am I supposed to figure this? There's too many characters in it. I'm like, very easy. This resumption.
Penny, get your own Wi-Fi. Yeah,
I can't. Like I can't. You're gonna have to write it. You're gonna have to write it down. have to write it down. It would be, because I love this movie, the 90s animated Aladdin.
Okay.
That one, because Jasmine was not your typical princess, at all. She's kind of like, like me. I have a really short attention span. You're not entertaining me. You're not, I don't really want to deal with you. Okay, I'll sick my tiger on you. I think I'm gonna have to go back here and grab it because I have this gorgeous piece of art.
Oh, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
that's pretty.
Hang on a second.
I don't
I
even
want to
think it's
see.
even made
Ooh,
anymore.
that's beautiful.
That's like gorgeous. I love it. She was just like my favorite princess, and it was okay to be yourself, and it's okay. You will connect with people who you will connect with. They may not be, the ideal person, but someone who appreciates you for being who you truly are. That's like worth gold. And for me, that meant like the most, because I really, in a lot of places, I didn't really feel like, that I really belonged. It's like, you can't be a cheerleader and smart. You can't be a cheerleader in like comic books. You can't be a cheerleader and like sci-fi, whatever. Wasn't until I got like older and I'm working in IT, and pretty much everybody, everybody is just like a straight up nerd. Like somebody was like, who put this record in here that has the server addresses being the Death Star? I'm like, that's a development server. How do we know that's not the real thing? You didn't get the joke? Who would name a production server, the Death Star? You got to be freaking. But yeah, I really did like that. Plus, she had a really cool outfit too.
Oh, of course.
I
loved her hair.
I love that. She loved her dad. Yes, the hair was freaking awesome. I like the hair.
I remember being a child trying to figure out how she got it so full, because I would try to do that same thing, and I'm like, I just wish I had more. I have a lot of hair, and I wish I had more hair, because I didn't understand. It's a cartoon. It's not real.
Yeah, so she can put to the side, and it's like,
and it's still super full to the bottom, like
gorgeous, and it just like. It's like moves and everything, but I love that. If anything, it just reminded me that it's okay to be yourself. The people who love you and that care about you will love you for who you are.
Wow. Yeah, it is amazing. What I've learned from tonight's conversation is that it is amazing, number one, how each person is different and reacts differently to movies. How impactful what we watch is to us, especially when we're young. And I think that's another reason why parents should be more careful with what they let their kids watch, because we see the flip side. We talked about movies that left a scar, and of course some things you just got to grow out of. Bald-headed woman, I'm okay, we cool now, it's all good, right? You shave your head, go ahead, I don't care. But yeah, you just kind of have to grow out of it. And there are so many other movies I'm sure that we could have listed, like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, all these heavy themes and things like that in there. But I love the selection that we had this evening. This was a really fun conversation. I hope you ladies enjoyed it and had fun.
Absolutely, sure as heck did.
Girls' night. Girls' night. It's something different. It's a little different, right? You know, we can we let all the men in the chat, but we keep the testosterone off the screen. So it's just we love our dudes. So don't get us wrong. We love our dudes.
Different than having to, you know, keep 6 dudes in check on a dark council.
I hear you. Yes. Marie and I talk about that all the time. Every time we go on somebody else's stream, like we're like typically the only female.
Exactly.
So it's nice to be able to get the nerd girls together every now and then.
It's true.
And chit chat. So apparently the folks love it. So yes, thank you again for being here. If we don't mind, we'll do just a little just go around the table and say so. Maria, what do you got coming up next? What's going on in your life?
Well, I think I freezed up a little bit.
You froze up a little.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
okay.
Well,
like she'll be back.
I hope I freeze in a nice like position. It's like, you know, inspirational. But
very Shakespearean.
So actually, I'm kind of laying low a little bit, finishing up on some assignments. As you guys know, I went back to school.
I love school.
Yay! Okay, so so I went back to school. It's really awesome. Very hands-on program, thankfully. And so Unlocking Laura is a little bit, you know, kind of hibernating. I did do one, and that was because right here was the inspiration and saying, when are you gonna have one? So I'm like, all right, let's do one. Hopefully I'll be able to do another one next week. It depends on what I have coming ahead. And then after the weekend, we are going to be doing a pre-recorded video. Hopefully it'll come out this Monday. Yeah. Let's hope. Cross our fingers. I did pop up today in a premiere of I'm doing a Spanish show on Midnight Dutch in Español.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you who want to practice their Spanish, I am reviewing C dramas and K dramas, which is like all the Asian.
Which K drama?
Okay, so I just reviewed Goblin. Goblin is such an amazing like drama. It's like 16 episodes, but each one is like an hour or an hour or 15. Oh, wow. But an amazing like comedy, romantic comedy with its serious tone. So amazing thing.
Oh my gosh.
I have one more video to pop up for that series, and then I'm gonna drop for another one for another Chinese one, which I love the historical one. So yeah, I'm doing that.
Busy girl. Busy.
Nice. Nice.
We'll have to keep an eye out for that. That'd be pretty cool.
So
yeah.
You got a porn bot.
Yeah.
What? They seem so legit. They're just trying to help us out.
No. So
no, I wasn't being serious.
No.
Well, so that being said, we'll just push them to the side there. Lorena, what do you have going on with your world there?
There's a lot. There's a heck of a lot that's going on. I actually just finished a pre-recorded series of a watch party for the anime Hellsing Ultimate, and I am actually up to my neck right now in editing those videos. Oh. Yes, because editing is a pain.
Yes,
it's a pain in the butt. But the first video reviewing episodes 1 and 2 actually should be dropped tomorrow morning, so you guys can check that out. I so freaking enjoy that anime. So that's the series I'm working on editing right now. No Dark Council tomorrow night, as there's the Geeks and Gamers meetup and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So no Dark Council, although next week Dark Council will be on my channel.
Very cool.
Ladies hosted.
Oh, sorry, not my channel. Sorry, DreadSaberPhil's basement channel, but I am hosting. So that's the deal. That's the deal with that. Let's see what I'm actually trying to slow down just because I have so much that's going on. Thursday, I have a show called Toxic Male Appreciation, which I do over on Twitch.
I love that.
Oh, I'm so glad you do.
I love that title.
Yes.
That is such an amazing title.
Love
Toxic Male Appreciation. So we appreciate, so-called toxic men. So we usually, have one actor or maybe two to talk about, or a watch party. We just got finished appreciating actor Steve Toussaint from House of the Dragon, who plays Corlys Velaryon.
Nice.
Yeah, and Thursday, Matt Smith. We're going to be talking about Matt Smith from House of the Dragon. So we're going to be doing that. Friday at 12 noon, I have my school lunch table show where I go over some pop culture news for the week, along with my co-host, Fat Steven Seagal. And of course, Saturday, I do have a theme park stream, but it's a little different. 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, I'm having a channel meetup. At Disney Springs. So actually, that's at 10, and I'm live streaming at 10:30. So
wow.
Gonna get together, Everglazed Donuts. Folks can get a donut, get a cold brew coffee, and we just hang out there on the Astro.
I got to move to Florida.
Yeah.
Move to Florida. Well, I think we can say that Lorena's the queen of the internet. You got a lot going on.
You got a lot.
I do, and I'm kind of starting to eventually slow things down a little bit because, the holidays are coming, which for my family is the Super Bowl of entertaining. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So, well, I do want to thank you ladies so much for joining us, and for everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. Again, we had so much fun here. And of course, look down in the description box below so you can keep track of Lorena and Maria and their adventures on the internet. And we look forward to the next girls' night. You can catch us live on Inside the Booth every Tuesday and Sunday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we do movie reviews. Sometimes we do trailer reactions. But overall, we just have a really fantastic time. So thank you all for being here. And ladies, I'll just catch you in the green screen room if you don't mind. And we'll say our good nights. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Try not to ogle my caboose as I walk away.